Hey YouTube, this is Mike White with 143vinyl.com. So today I'm going to do a very interesting tutorial on a very difficult subject. And we're going to cover lots of material, but we're going to be taking this image that we've received to print and trying to transform it into something that we'll all be proud of. Now it's a beautiful image. It's pixelated, and I'm just going to open it up in a Windows Photo Viewer so we can look at it a little better. So if we look at this at 100%, we can see the quality is not great. I mean, the quality around the eye here is what I kind of focus on as details like this eye and this beak. Doesn't look good. And then you can see the amount of mess all over the image. And I just, if somebody were to put this on a black shirt, for instance, I think it would just look messy. I mean, parts of this is going to go away in the print, but there's no reason to feed the printer something that looks like this. So it's been enlarged from a smaller source, and that's the first thing we're going to work on. So now I've got the photo opened up in, or the drawing, it's not a photo. I've got the image opened up in Adobe Photoshop, and this is probably hard to see on the video, but I'm looking at the image size. I've just gone to image size, and I see the resolution is set to 2000, which is a little crazy. Just turning it down to 300, you can probably see that might be the actual size that the image started at. I mean, it's saying it's 375 pixels wide. I don't think it's quite that small. I'm going to go 500. I'm starting to already see some degradation at 500. So yeah, I think we're starting with a really, really small image. So I'm going to go to 500 and just kind of meet it in the middle. It's not quite as sharp as I would like. But I need to get to 3,000 pixels anyway, so there's no reason to go much smaller than this. And I'm hoping the watercolor, drawing in general is just going to be forgiving of all these sins that I'm about to commit. So here we go. We've got our 500 pixel image, and what we want to do, you hit Control-0 to get back to see that full screen. Now we're seeing it larger. We're seeing it 176%. So Control-1 would actually show you 100%. That's the view that you always want to judge an image in, is at 100% when you're checking for quality. So let's just do File, Export. I'm just going to export this as a PNG. And I'm going to call this 500 Alpha. So that's with the alpha background. And just as I was doing that, I realized, to get rid of all this junk and mess around, and you can see like the white outlines and stuff like that. Taking something like this off of white, because it's a watercolor type image, it's painted on white or drawn on white. It definitely kind of needs that white for all the fine details to come through. So I'm going to actually put the white back. So let's, this has been treated by an automatic background remover, which is a cardinal sin. It really is. Don't do that. If you have to, and it's the only skill that you have, then do that. That's just the way life is. I mean, you just work with what you've got. So I'm going to put the white back, and you can probably see, I'll just blow it up a little bit. You can probably see that it's kind of fixed all the areas, that have been damaged, where it's missing parts. And some of this we want to be missing. We want it to fade away. That's what's happening here in the drawing. These wings are just fading away because they're moving at super high speeds. And that's the whole, nature of this type of drawing, is that it just kind of melts into the paper. I think that's a big part of watercolor effect. Okay, so let's export that. And I'm going to call this, we called that one 500 Alpha. This is actually 500 White. All right. And those of you that know me well know that I love this tool. We're going to pop over to Gigapixel. And so it's going to enlarge the image again, but it's actually going to upscale it and not just, blow up the pixels. It's actually upscaling the image and doing its best to preserve the quality or redraw the same quality at a larger level. Now, if I hadn't reduced it, then it would truly, it would just have expanded, the pixels that were already enlarged and already blurry. It would just taken blurry and made it blurrier. I don't think that's a word, but I'm not sure. So anyway, here we go. This is the result in Gigapixel, and this is what we're going to go with. So we're just going to save that. I'm saving it as a PNG and just saving it back in the source directory. And Gigapixel likes to put lots of long-winded names on things. I'm just going to actually reduce some of this and do 500 white 6x. So that's kind of starting to create a trail of information of what I've done to this image. I made it 500 in white, and then I went 6x in Gigapixel. So we're at 3,000 pixels now, suitable to be printed at about 10 inches. Okay, so now I've got the image back in Photoshop, and I'm sure you can tell even through watching a video that this is a much better quality image at this point. We've really enhanced it quite a lot. I'm just patting myself on the back there. So now, this next part is going to be a little bit of trial and error, and it's not just going to be one step to remove this background. It's going to be, take some fussing and tuning. And so the first thing we're going to do is just take this image, and we're going to get rid of all the color. So we're going to use this white as a mask. And so I've taken the image and just converted it. I just went to image mode and switched to grayscale. So now we're actually going to invert the image. So we're just going to do image adjustments, invert, or Control I. Okay, so now we've got a mask, and you want to picture that the black areas are the transparency and the light areas are where you're actually going to have solid color. So the black, or semi-transparent actually at this point. The gray would be semi-transparent. The black is the hard, no transparency. No color at all, full transparency. And then the light areas are going to be where it's solid. And this is a result that you could run with. You could actually halftone this result right here, but I want something a little more solid than this. So I'm going to go to my exposure, so image adjustments exposure, and I'm just going to up the exposure until I get a lot of solid white areas, because those solid whites are what are going to print, where I'm going to have full color. And I'm just going to go in here somewhere like this. I'm really trying to get a lot, but I don't want to get too much of that outer mass. I want to try to get all the flowers, and I don't want to have to paint too much on this. So I'm going to go pretty extreme here and just hit OK. And then if there's parts that you want to fine tune, you can take a brush tool, and I've just got a brush and I've got white. And I'm just going to paint over, parts that I know that I want to be solid. I know that I don't want any semi-transparency in these areas. I'm going to get this part of the tail. I noticed this part of the beak up here earlier. Looks like it looks like it could use some white there. Like this, a little shine. So I'm just going to adjust my brush down kind of low and try to follow the contours. I'm going to click once. Nope, not like that. Right in here. And then hold shift and click right here, and that's going to draw a straight line for me. I'm just going to touch up this part right here. So just kind of playing with that. We'll see how that turns out. And then any other parts that I want to be, fairly solid. Like I'd like to get more of this. And you don't have to use, a fully hard brush on this. You could go with a little bit, middle of the road. I seem to use either 50 or 100. Quite a lot. I'm probably guilty of that. I go 50, 100, 0, quite a lot. So I'm just going to paint in, the parts of this leaf, and we're going to let some of that still stay transparent. I'm just going to, or semi-transparent, and I'm just going to grab some of these areas where I just want to, tighten things up and harden things up. I'm going to get up here in the wings. I'm just kind of painting, what I think needs to be more solid, and make sure at least I get the outline of the bird really good. And then some of these delicate flowers. This is about where I'm going to leave it. I was just going to touch up a little parts of the bird there, and kind of go with this. So we're going to eventually halftone this image. you know, just to get some of this, you know, take care of all these edge details, all these parts that are semi-transparent. But you see this big cloud of you know, light color around the bird here. See all this, you know, and I don't want, you know, that much of that. So just to tone that down, I'm going to go to Image Adjustments, and I'm going to go to my Levels tool, and I'm just going to play with this mid-level, this midpoint of gray, and try to push that towards black. So as I just grab this and pull this over, it's like I'm controlling how much glow is around all the objects. And I'm just going to go pretty, you know, I went pretty far with that. You know, really brought it in and toned down all that outer glow. Okay, and so that is my final mask, and I'm sticking to it. So now to use this, you know, kind of hand-created mask, it's a transparency mask. I'm going to just, right now it's just an image, you know, it's a black and white image. I'm just going to hit Control A and then Control C and copy it to my keyboard. And then I'm going to use F12 to revert to the original. So here's the original, and you can go to, I think it's File, there's Revert. So F12, it's not highlighted right now because I've already done it. So F12 will revert. And then I'm just going to hit Mask down here in the corner. So here's my layer mask. And now that I've got the mask created, I'm going to hit Alt, hold Alt, and click on the mask. And then paste the mask that we've created. And if we come back here, we can see the results of our, you know, kind of finely tuned transparency mask. And there's a couple places I can see that I want to clean up. I just don't want to have these little specks out here. So I'm just going to switch to black, and I'll just paint those out. You know, I just don't want to look, I don't want it to look like there's a mess or like a printer error is what our concerns at 143 are. You know, we have enough problems with the printers ourselves. We don't need to make the artwork make the problems look worse. So just little spots, you know, wherever we want to clean it up. I don't want to get into any of the glowing areas and disturb those with like a hard black spot. You know, I want to kind of leave all this soft semi-transparency all around. At least that's what I'm going for with this look because of the watercolor. So that's that. And now we have, you know, very close to our final image. I'm just going to peek at this beak area one more time because I was concerned about that. Yeah, I think that looks good. Let me zoom in here and just peek at that. Yeah, so that's brought that white back into that beak. And all this white looks good. That looks like that might need white right there. So I'm just going to paint white. So I hit X to switch between my foreground and background colors and just paint in some white right there. That up there looks like the separation of the wing. You know, looks like he's missing a little bit of his wing here. I don't know if I can, you know, just kind of nail that out, make that more solid. And all this, you know, is going to be fine. So that's we're going to preserve that original artwork and try to, you know, simulate that effect because we can't do semi-transparency with a DTF printer. So we're simulating, you know, semi-transparency. Okay, so now we've got that. I'm going to change my brush back to 100% because I don't want to forget about that and leave it. I like a firm, hard brush most of the time. So now we need to try to halftone this. So I'm just going to take a look at the image size. I want to make sure to set this to 300. And I'm going to reduce this back to 3000. So it is at 300 resolution, which, you know, the pixels are all that matters. But sometimes when you're doing math, when you're actually sending something to print, you need it 300 DPI. The pixel dimensions are what's important, though. Pay attention to that. And, you know, when I'm doing halftoning, we actually have, I have all the math figured out for a 300 DPI image. So that's why I need to set it to that. So before I move forward, I want to save this. So I'm just going to hit Save As, and I'm saving it as a PNG. So that's going to apply the mask, you know, just in the act of saving this. And I usually call things resized at this step because I did set the resolution. It's sized. I know that it's ready for a halftone operation. All right, we're going to hit OK. Okay, and so I'm just going to go to image mode, and we're going to start the halftone process right now. So right here at the 15-minute mark, we're starting the halftone process. So let's do grayscale again, just like we did before. And then we're just going to go to image, and I always recommend this step, just go to levels and just take your black output level and just put it past, 1 or 2. You just need that to be able to be exposed. You don't want pure black anywhere on the image. So now we're going to take the exposure and take it all the way up. So that has created just a complete white area. This might look real familiar to what we were doing before. We're going to set a solid color up. So I've just set a solid black layer and pulled it down. And then this is where the magic happens. We're just going to go to image mode bitmap. And I'll ask if we want to flatten the layers. Yes, we do. Okay, and we're going to do our output at 2000 pixels per inch. And we're using a halftone screen method. So just choose halftone screen and then hit OK. And then this should be fine. We're going to do our frequency at 20, angle at 45, round. So 20 lines per inch, 20, 45, round. And hit OK. And it has made our halftone. So now we have that. And so what it's done is it's actually made the image really, really big. It set the resolution to 2000 and the image is way out there. So this is why we needed the 300, because we're going to just take it back to 300 so it matches our original size. And then I'm just going to hit Control A and Control C and copy this half-toned mask to my clipboard. And now we're going to hit F12 and revert the image. And then now we need to make a bunch of duplicate layers of the actual image. So I've got a little saved action, and all it does is actually just create 5 stacks. So basically what it does is it duplicates layer, okay, duplicate layer, okay. It just does a bunch of stacks. And then after it's got 5, it just merges them visibly. So merge visible. So all the things are merged. And what this is doing is it's creating the background color. It's pulling that semi-transparency out of the image and hardening the pixels so that it's fully, there's color that's strong, firm, 100% opaque color. And so running this multiple times is a good plan. So I'm just going to run my 5-layer stack several times, and that's going to get all, you can see that white kind of blooming out. If I just keep running this, it'll just kind of keep filling in. But I usually do 15. Just now you've watched me do like 30 or 40 5-layer stacks. So that's what I've done there. Okay, and so now I'm just going to start with, start a transparent mask. And then I'm going to Alt-click to select the mask and then paste what's on my clipboard. And so now, all that solid color is being used by this mask. So wherever the mask is actually, showing, that is the solid color is there to be, exposed by the mask, if you will. So that's what's happening. So, all right, so now we've got our this is our finish. This is our final. So let's take a look at it. I'm going to export it. So we go to quick export as PNG, and I'm just going to call this half-toned, and then put my name, and then put 143, of course. So that's my, I misspelled my name. I'm not Mikey, I'm Mike. So there we go. So it started out, we made it 500, white, 6x. It's been resized, half-toned, and then my name and the company name. So there, save that. And let's go look at it. So we'll go zoom in on this. And I'm still kind of learning how these things print. And this is awfully convenient. There's our original. And here is our final. So let's just get in this. I'm going to get this to 100%. And this one's not even at 100% yet. It actually can go bigger and still look good. But that's the result. So you've got these little dots, and I've heard people tell me they hate the little dots. But when you're dealing with some images, there's just really no recourse, no options to preserve the feel and preserve the look. And the idea is that you don't focus on the dots, you focus on the imagery, and people are going to be backed up off the shirt. They're not likely to be scrutinizing super close. But yeah, that is the difference between, taking some artwork that was just, going to look messy, and making it look intentional and making it look, I think, beautiful in comparison. So there you go. Hey, thanks for watching, and thanks for buying your DTF transfers from 143vinyl.com. We got your back, and we will clean up your artwork as best we can. Take care.